hey, I cannot see so clearly, and some parts of your vision will be impaired. And this is very real. This is very real. You ask any neurological doctor, they will tell you that. And of course, coordination for Parkinson's patient, Parkinson's friends. Why is it that their coordination is totally disorganized, cannot be controlled? Why? It's because nerve cells die here. The nerve cells die here. And nerve cells die by a number of reasons we mentioned just now already. And how are we able to reverse this damage? Can we reverse those damage? I think we can. All right, we can. Not that we can, but at least scientific studies now allow us to say very confidently, say that, hey, yes, indeed, we can really help, if nerve cells are damaged in all these regions. Now, let me just give you an example, all right? There are many, many neurological disorders, all right? I cannot name all of them here, all right? Including multiple sclerosis, Parkinson, dementia, Alzheimer, so many, all right? But I cannot really explain to you all of them here, but if you're interested, we can have a special lecture just on each of the diseases, like Alzheimer, dementia, or even depression, or even schizophrenia, or even multiple personality disorders. Now, for Alzheimer, I'm going to do this very careful, very fast, because I'm not giving a lecture on Alzheimer. Okay, but what I just want to let you know is that in Alzheimer patient or people, all right, it's a combination of genetic and lifestyle factors. We already know that, and the brain very clearly, you do a brain analysis, right? It's fewer cells, fewer nerve cells, and fewer connections. It's not just nerve cell, fewer connections. Because as I was telling you, nerve cell, in order for them to function, it must connect to another nerve cell, must connect to another nerve cell. It's just like electricity. But once those connections is being destroyed or blocked, then even today you have a healthy nerve cell, is useless. It's useless. So what I'm going to tell you is that when this happens, then there is significant brain shrinkage. This is very scary. Now, if I were to ask every one of you here, do you want your brain to be on the left-hand side, your left-hand side, or the one on the right-hand side? I believe you want that to be on the left-hand side, because that's the normal one. All right, and what happens is that, for Alzheimer patient, usually there is plaques. All right, what does this plaques do? These plaques are all dark spots. Basically, what happens inside this Alzheimer patient is that, there seems to be a complete lack of neuropeptides being supplied to the brain. Now, let me just share with you the importance of the brain and also the exclusivity of the brain. The brain, unlike the other parts of our body, all right, it is served by what we call our blood circulation. Okay? The blood circulation in our body supply blood nutrients to all parts of the body, except our brain. Except our brain. Why? Because our brain, predominantly, they are made up of adipose, what we call lipid tissues, fat. And fat and water. Blood is water, aqueous. Water and fat, does it mix? Don't mix. And if don't mix, that means to say that the nutrients inside our body that is supposed to be circulated to all parts of the body will not reach the brain. Will not reach the brain. And that is very, very clear evidence from scientific studies that there is what we call a blood-brain barrier. Blood-brain barrier, meaning to say that a lot of things cannot reach the brain. Right? That is also a protective function. Why? Because we do not want anything to penetrate the brain and affect the brain, because the brain is the most precious organ of our body, and it should not be infected. It should not be infected by any viruses or even any other contaminants. And that is only right that there's a blood-brain barrier. So if that's the case, what nourishes the brain? What nourishes the brain? If food cannot enter the brain, what can sustain the brain? You understand what I'm trying to say? That is important. Because today, if you look at the heart, you look at any organs, the heart, the liver, the capillaries, you know what is capillaries? Blood vessels. Blood vessels can actually cover the entire organ, because you just have to cover the entire organ to give supply, to give the blood supply to the organ, because the organ need the blood, isn't it? But the capillaries will not be able to cover the brain, because there is the blood-brain barrier. So how is it then that nutrients could be delivered to the brain? That is key. That is key. There is a lot of supplements in the market. There is also a lot of food in the market that claims to say that this is good for brain. But I can't tell you that. It may be good for brain, but can it ever reach there? Can it ever reach the brain? Can it be absorbed by the brain cells? That is important. So key thing here is you must be able to find the channel, the link between our body, our blood circulation, and the brain. And there's only one channel. You can only deliver the nutrients through one channel, not through the capillaries, through one channel, to the brain. And when that channel becomes blocked, or when that channel's it's not served by nerve cells, for example, something is wrong. Something's going to happen to your brain. All right, and then you can have what we call the plaques forming, the tangles forming. These are all scientific terms, but no need to understand, because I'm not teaching you a lecture, but just understand that these plaques and these tangles, it is a result. It is a result of the fact that the nerve cells that is delivering the nutrients, or rather, the nerve cell cannot deliver the nutrients. The nerve cell that control the channel, the nerve cell that control the channel that deliver the nutrients to the brain are impaired. And therefore, your entire internal transport system, the entire internal transport system to the brain, it is totally collapsed. And when that happens, Alzheimer's disease comes into play. Okay? Now, that does not mean to say that every one of us here has an equal chance. I'm not cursing everyone, but I'm just saying that every one of us has an equal chance of getting Alzheimer. And Alzheimer, we understand, or dementia, we understand how serious is that. Because that means to say that you become a burden to your family members. So this is just let you know that the connection point inside the brain impaired as compared to the normal cells, the normal brain. All right. So I think we prefer that we want to be as normal as ever. All right. We want to be as normal as ever. Next, I would like to touch on Parkinson's. I think this is also a very serious disease in Singapore. Parkinson's, even at this moment in time, there's no drug. There is no drug for Parkinson's patients. There is drugs to control. Okay, and you cannot convert a Parkinson's patient to a normal person already. You cannot. There is no drug. So Parkinson's patient, I think, they have serious incoordination, poor coordination of the muscle. All right, it's keep on shaking, and of course there are other symptoms, including the eye movement, hallucination, hand movement, whatever. Parkinson's patient in serious stages. So whatever we see in most of the time, people with stage 1, stage 2. Well, you see tremors on one side. There's starting of Parkinson. When two side, stage 2. Parkinson also like cancer, like the stages one, So most of the time we see people stage 3, but very, very seldom we see people with stage 5. When you reach stage 5, this is bad. Basically, you are a burden. This person is a burden. Okay, you need somebody to take special care. All right, but the usual cases of Parkinson's people, they can take care of themselves, usually stage 1 and stage 2. But I'm not going to talk about Parkinson's today, but what I'm trying to tell you is that whether it's Parkinson's, whether it's Alzheimer, whether it's autism. All right, autism. This represent, on the left-hand side, represents the control. You don't need to understand because this is not a lecture. But what you need to know is for autism, how many of us know that actually autism affects kids, right? And kids are quite serious because today, as a parent, if you have an autism kid, you become very sad, right? And that's very true. Autism kids, why? Why is it that, I just give you the key issue. The key issue here is that in autism kids, the nerve cell of the kid cannot make a special protein, what we call peptide, a neuropeptide called neuroligin. You see the cross there? Can you see a cross? The red cross there? No, that means to say that this totally precludes the patient, and because of this, all right, something happened. Something happened to this group of the nerves inside the kid, and very, very quickly, you can see that the number of branches, we call it the branches. The more branch, the better. The more network, the better. The less network means something is wrong. Autism kid, all right, and that is an increased level of serotonin. Serotonin is important for us. It's a form of neurotransmitter. It's a form of neuropeptide. But it's extremely important for us, especially if you want to get to sleep. How many of us need to sleep every night? Every one of us need to sleep. Without serotonin, we can't sleep. You understand what I'm trying to say? And serotonin, you need to have, it's cyclical. You cannot sleep forever. You need to wake up. Right? So it's cyclical. But the problem is that if there is what we call an imbalance of serotonin, autism arises. Okay, and then you can see that then they will lead to the hippocampus. Hippocampus actually the one part of the brain becomes smaller. And this kid, he lives in his own world. He doesn't interact with people anymore. You understand what I'm trying to say? Okay, of course, there are a lot of more scientific basis, but I can't explain it here, but I just want to give you some glimpse that indeed, all right, there is scientific basis. There is a scientific basis behind each of the diseases that we see. I cannot cover all the diseases today because today my concern here is not to touch on disease. My concern here is not to touch about the NGF, and therefore I want to give you more time on the NGF. Okay? If people were to ask me, I'm sure a lot of people ask me, hey, I got this disease, can I eat this thing? I got this disease, can I eat this thing? My answer to you is that, look, if normal people need it, what more? People with diseases. You understand what I'm trying to say? Epilepsy, very serious, 1 in every 26 people. All right, 65 billion people afflicted. Okay, epilepsy, you know what? There's epilepsy, right? Fits and things like that. It's very serious. Actually, it actually gives a lot of embarrassment to the family. Not just to the person itself, it's to the family as well. All right, depression. How many of us, this is a very common thing. A lot of people deny that, but actually face it. Some of us will have depression every now and then. Yeah. So depression is very, very serious, and again, you see serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine. Now, all these things is what we call the neuropeptide. What we call neuropeptide. Neuropeptide, that means biomolecule that helps to, convey messages from one nerve cell to another nerve cell. There are different types, at least 100 million types of all these neuropeptide inside the body. You need those peptides inside the body. So if those peptides are not in your diet or not in your brain capacity, then you have to get it from somewhere. Otherwise, if those peptides are not present, then that will lead to what we call imbalances. Imbalances of these chemicals then can initiate what we call symptoms associated with the different kinds of diseases, including depression. So, depression always starts from a cycle. I cannot go through with you so many things because today I'm not talking about depression, but I just want to let you know, I want to mention one thing, which is this thing called rapid eye movement. How many of us likes to dream? How many of us dream at night? Dreaming. All of us dream. Okay, some of us don't dream, but that does not mean to say that in your lifetime you don't dream. Every now and then we will dream. And do you know that when you are dreaming, or when you are sleeping, for example, when you are sleeping, every part of your body sleep. There is only one part of your body that does not sleep. Which part of the body that does not sleep? Of course, heart does not sleep, yes. But the most important thing is the eye. Yeah, you got the heart stop already, then, yeah. Then, of course, yeah, the heart stop. The heart keep on beating. But what I'm trying to say is that your eye is the most active. The heart is active, but the eye is the most active. That's why in your dreams, you see things, right? Otherwise, how can you, if your eyes sleep already, how can you see things in your dream? Right? Your eyes can see things. But the good thing about it is that, do you know that your muscles, every part of your muscles relaxes? So that even today, how many of you dreamt that a mad dog chasing you? A mad dog chasing you. Okay, never mind. But just imagine a mad dog chasing you. Now, in your dreams, a mad dog chasing you, that, do you really come and wake up and then start to run? Do you run physically together with your dream? No, you don't run. Your eyes is open, but you don't run. Not like a real thing. You understand what I'm trying to say? So this is so magical, you know. In our dreams, this can happen. How is this possible? Never ask yourself. How is this possible? How can I dream and then the dog chasing me, and then I can still... I dream of I running, but actually I didn't run. I dream of me running, but I didn't run. Magical, right? What is this control? What is control? Your autonomic nervous system. Your autonomic nervous system controls that part so that even in your dreams you want to run, you cannot run. So wonderful. But of course there are people, in Chinese it's called 梦游症. What is that called? 梦游症 in English? Sleepwalking. Yeah, very good. Okay, the first time I know Chinese but I don't know English. Sleepwalking. All right. Okay, I'm usually very good in English. Sleepwalking, but there are people, but very few. Very few. Understand what I'm trying? Okay. So again, sleepwalking is a disorder. It's a disorder. So again, as I say, if we are all normal people, we want normal thing. Your autonomic system has to be in the right frame, has to be in the most fittest state. Understand what I mean? Otherwise, something is going to happen. So what I'm trying to say is that, you know, depression can happen if you don't have enough of this, what we call serotonin again, the levels of neurotransmitter. Schizophrenia, very scary. You know, rank number 9 as a burden. You know, Singapore government rank as number 9. That means, you know, the diseases it cause damage to the economy. Singapore economy, rank number 9, because it causes a lot of mortalities and disability. All right. So currently, also there is no cure for schizophrenia. Okay. Now, another thing that is very serious is dissociative identity disorder. Okay. Now, we are all born, when we are young, we are all born with a lot of personality, you know, when we are born, all right? Until when we grow up, all right, we were through learning experiences, through interaction with people, we actually, all these personality states will join together as one person, and then that becomes your personality. So you become one personality, you understand what I mean? But the thing is that sometimes when there is a trauma, when it hits your head, for example, and then that what we call the amnestic wall. Amnestic wall means it actually creates barrier with the different personality. And therefore, even though you are one person, but you have many, many personalities because of the amnestic, because you forget about things. You forget that you are yourself already. You forget that you are yourself. And therefore, you have multiple personalities. This is a disorder also. What causes this? What causes this? Again, something went wrong to the autonomic nervous system. Something went wrong. Amnesia, of course. How many of us know that we forget things? Sometimes it's things that many years back, we forget, but